Corey Feldman has been calling out Hollywood for decades and no one listened. Allegedly, not even the police. Feldman shared that he did sit down with the police to share a list of names for them to investigate for acting inappropriately towards those under the age of 18, but the police didn't do much. Feldman had been in the industry since a very, very young age and has expressed that he doesn't like that fact. But the real sharing of Hollywood secrets came in his 2013 memoir, Choreography. He shared that industry adults acted inappropriately towards him when he was very much not an adult, and that some of those people are still or were still working. It's really heartbreaking that all this happened, and Feldman did share that it has been really hard for him, that he wants to fight the fight for survivors. Feldman also shares that he applauds all victims for letting their voices be heard, and he encourages the public debate to continue. Megan Fox was calling out big stars and this thing referred to as the casting couch long before the Me Too movement. The term casting couch can be literal or figurative. Without getting too into it, the term means someone getting a position on a movie set by doing a specific type of favor for someone. In a 2009 interview with GQ, Fox revealed that the people using this casting couch method weren't just producers or casting directors, but also some Hollywood legends, in her words. She said, "It's really so heartbreaking. Some of these people, like Hollywood legends, you think you're going to meet them and you're so excited, like, I can't believe this person wants to have a conversation with me, and you get there and you realize that's not what they want at all." If you can believe it, Megan Fox wasn't treated very well after this admission. Some people didn't believe her due to her sort of bad girl image at the time. It wasn't until years later in the Me Too movement that people took her past comments and stories as seriously as they should have. Britney Spears' life story and book about her life story exposed just how controlling Hollywood can be. The news of her father basically, allegedly, controlling every aspect of the singer's life rocked the internet and led to large social media outcry to free Britney from her conservatorship. It was revealed that the star had little control over her finances, family life, and just her life in general. Her 2023 book, The Woman in Me, dropped more interesting stories and facts about the singer's life. One particular story about how she got pregnant took the internet by storm. While Britney was dating Justin Timberlake, she got pregnant with his baby, but felt as though she could not keep the child, even though she really, really wanted to. Timberlake felt he wasn't ready to be a father, and so Britney ended the pregnancy. In the book she wrote, "If it had been left up to me alone, I never would have done it," and to this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I have ever experienced in my life. The book highlighted that being the most popular person in the world is not everything it's cracked up to be. Courtney Love had let us know about a certain recently convicted someone long before he was convicted. The certain someone that everyone knew what he was doing in Hollywood and yet nothing happened until recently. Hint, he shares a name with a popular fast food burger place. Yeah, that guy. Courtney Love hit a red carpet in 2005 and joined Comedy Central for an interview. The interviewer asked the blonde bombshell, "Do you have any advice for a young girl moving to Hollywood?" Love seemed unsure on how to respond at first, but then chose to become one of the first people to warn us about the burger name guy. She responded, I'll get libeled if I say it. If insert that man's name here invites you to a private party in the Four Seasons, don't go." The man many years later got in trouble with the law for those parties at the Four Seasons and what he would do to women there. Love, at the time, was treated very poorly after this moment, but has now received a lot of, well, love since all the stories came out, and is regarded as one of the first people that attempted to expose the terrible behavior. Jeanette McCurdy stood up to the entertainment industry when she released her book, I'm Glad My Mom Died. It revealed how child stars might sometimes not be protected by the people that should love them the most. In the book, McCurdy shared that she felt her whole childhood and adolescence were very exploited. Younger stars for years have unfortunately felt similar pressure to what McCurdy shared in her book, and we will get to some of them later in the video. About the revelation regarding her younger years, McCurdy shared, "It still gives my nervous system a reaction to say it. There were cases where people had the best intentions and maybe didn't know what they were doing, and also cases where they knew exactly what they were doing." McCurdy spent a lot of time talking about her mother in the book, which makes sense considering the title. Some stories that were shared included a not yet able to consume certain beverages, McCurdy being offered one of those drinks by someone that she refers to as the creator. She also shared that she wished her mother had intervened when a photo shoot resulted in a not yet legal McCurdy feeling pressured to wear a bikini. McCurdy shared that instead of her mother standing up for her, she would often receive the reminder, "Everyone wants what you have." Bella Thorne and Zendaya starred on the Disney Channel show Shake It Up together. Even though the show was great, their relationship wasn't so amazing at first, at least according to Bella Thorne. Bella Thorne revealed the rough start to the pair's friendship on the show while speaking with US Weekly. Though the pair on the show were the best of friends in real life, Bella shared that the pair didn't even consider themselves friends until a couple seasons into the show. The reason for this? Bella says it was because people on the show were pitting the girls against each other. Bella shared that this fed into our heads. It made us not friends in that first season. It's sad to learn that a show that was so loved by young viewers hadn't been quite a safe space for the girls. This interview isn't the first time Bella has mentioned the made-up competition between them. In 2017, she said that the pair were forced to compete against each other and that they were placed in a very unfortunate position. It was an interesting reveal when Bella shared that the pair didn't actually become friends while working on their show, but instead while shooting an episode for another popular Disney show, Good Luck Charlie. That was the time for the two to set things straight. About this time, Bella said, "We were really able to put our cards out on the table and understand each other. From that point on, the pair did get along and are now friends." Kim Kardashian has let the cat out of the bag when it comes to the paparazzi. One photographer revealed that Kim regularly texts him where she is going to be so that he can come and take some shots of the reality TV star. It exposed something that a lot of people suspected, but it's nice to get confirmation on, that sometimes when you see a paparazzi photo of a celeb that looks a little too perfect to be candid, it might be because it's really staged and posed. The photographer revealed that Kim allegedly has him on speed dial and even flies him around with her to get the candid photos. He also reveals that the paparazzi pictures he takes get reviewed by Kim, and I'm assuming her team, and photoshopped before they are sold to major magazines and websites. This isn't the first and surely won't be the last time pops are hired for something like this. Long before the news around Kim K's pops made it out in 2016, stars of The Hills, Spencer Pratt and Heidi Montag also had a similar agreement with some pops, crafting pictures of themselves to sell for profit. Now, this isn't to say that pops are always hired to take pictures. There are many times when that is clearly not the case, but the public has speculated for years that paparazzi might not be as random as they are portrayed. I mean, when you think about it, it makes way more sense that they might be called to a location instead of them just roaming a city with a big camera every night hoping to catch somebody. Jack Nicholson revealed an interesting tidbit about life on set. Apparently, certain substances were incredibly common, the kind of stuff that can get addictive if one isn't careful. Yeah, it might be no secret now that that kind of thing is common in Hollywood, but that wasn't always the case. In a 1980 interview, Nicholson shared that the substances ain't no big thing and that he would get influenced about 4 days a week. Again, the presence of certain things in Hollywood was something suspected by many that is nice to get confirmation on. It's also just surprising that it would be happening on set very commonly, apparently. Who could have guessed? Addictive on-camera performances could have come from an equally as addictive something else. Another actor, Dennis Quaid, further confirmed these vibes on set and how it didn't always go well. He actually said that the substances caused his entire life to fall apart and said that they were one of his greatest mistakes. The star of The Rookie and The Parent Trap revealed that originally he just used stuff casually since that was what everyone was doing. This and more was revealed in an article published to Newsweek. Quaid did reveal something even more shocking about Hollywood, that major studios would actually include the substances in their budgets. Quaid shares it was even in the budgets of movies thinly disguised. It was petty cash. So if you were to see petty cash listed in a budget, it probably meant something else entirely. Quaid went on to say that since everyone was doing the petty cash stuff, sets would sometimes supply it. People would even make deals. So while many have guessed that this stuff was present in Hollywood, it was a major shock to many to find out just how entwined it was with the movie-making process. The recently released documentary Quiet on Set, featuring Nickelodeon star Drake Bell, is the most recent example of Hollywood's worst being exposed. Without going into too much detail, the documentary features Drake Bell sharing stories about what he experienced while working for Nickelodeon, stories of things that would make anyone feel sick. The admissions from the documentary have led to widespread support towards Bell and widespread hatred towards former dialogue coach Brian Peck. The documentary showed just how twisted Hollywood can be when it comes to young stars. The it couple of Hollywood, Timothée Chalamet and Kylie Jenner, are no stranger to controversy, being accused of various things over the years, like transmitting diseases or faking documents. It's truly a wild ride trying to keep up with the two A-listers. Kylie Jenner is no stranger to the luxuries of life, like private planes. Stars do sometimes need access to private flights for security reasons, but social media was up in arms in July of 2022 after the reality TV star took a 17-minute flight. The star took her private jet a couple cities over, and people online calculated that the flight could have been a 45-minute car ride. I personally don't get the short private jet flights just because after driving to the airport, getting on the flight, taking off, touching down, getting off, driving from the airport, wouldn't that all exceed 45 minutes? You can tell I've never been on a private plane. Other social media users were quick to point out just how much carbon would have been released from the short flight, about a quarter of the average person's annual carbon footprint, or 1 ton. The 45-minute car ride would have had a significantly lower impact on the environment. This isn't even the worst flight Jenner has reportedly taken. In June, she had taken a flight that was just 9 minutes. Social media users have called out the star for this behavior, some calling her a climate criminal. July of 2020 revealed that the makeup millionaire Kylie Jenner is accused of being a bad tipper. A video shared to TikTok by a former Manhattan restaurant hostess details her opinions on different A-listers she met while working at the restaurant. The video features names like Hailey Bieber and the Hadid sisters, both talked about in positive light. Jenner, unfortunately, did not receive the same treatment. The hostess clarified that the reality TV star's behavior wasn't an issue, saying that she was fine. It was the bill at the end. The former hostess claimed that Jenner tipped $20 on a $500 bill. The former hostess ended her bit about Jenner saying, "Do with that what you will," and rated the star as a 2 out of 10 guest. This did cause some controversy online, some people agreeing that Kylie should have tipped more, around 20% instead of 4%. That would have been about a $100 tip. Others are saying that maybe the service wasn't great and $20 isn't that bad. Let me know your thoughts on the situation in the comments. Timothée Chalamet's fan base had a meltdown after videos of him smoking at the Beyonce concert he attended with Kylie went viral. The elusive Hollywood couple makes few public appearances together, so all eyes were on them at Beyonce's September 4th concert last year. Most of what was seen was just kisses and cuddles, but one particular Timothée action had fans clutching their pearls, but for good reason though. Timothée is seen in a video from the event smoking. This does break the rules of the venue, and fans were not happy about that. Timothée Chalamet smoking is not necessarily the biggest surprise. There are photos of him doing it before, lots of people in Hollywood do it, but smoking inside the stadium is definitely not very nice to those around him. This next point is like whiplash. Kylie is known for being active on social media, posting on her Instagram story frequently. For such a major star, usually posts are like planned to complement each other, but in this case, the two could not have been more different. Back in the very beginning of 2020, Jenner took to her Instagram story to raise awareness for what was happening in Australia at the time with all the devastating fires. Particularly, Jenner's Instagram story post was about the large amount of animals that had passed due to the fires and how sad that was and how people could help. It was a great message, exactly the thing to do to raise awareness. However, shortly after posting this message, Jenner posted photos of her new slippers to her story. Her new mink fur slippers, real fur. Fans thought this was an incredibly inappropriate thing to post, wearing fur right after making a big post about saving the animals in Australia. Many social media users were quick to weigh in on the controversy, one writing, "Kylie posting a story about the AU fires, then a story of her mink LV slippers is my favorite new definition of tone deaf. The slipper slip up wasn't a good look." Maybe the most hilarious of the secrets on this list would have to be the Timothée Chalamet spreading chlamydia around the NYU campus. It's not true, apparently. The reason this rumor even started is just as wild as the rumor itself. Allegedly, according to fans online, the rumor started from a fanfiction. This happened in a fanfiction, I guess, and everyone just started taking it as fact. Not to say that there is no truth to the rumor. I personally don't know him, so I can't tell you exactly what he got up to in college. Kylie's lip kits and her plastic surgery caused some ruffled feathers when it was first revealed the star received the procedures. Kylie getting exposed for receiving plastic surgery isn't necessarily that bad. She is absolutely allowed to do whatever she wants to her body, it is hers. What people had a problem with is that she was using it to sell her lip kit products. Most of the marketing for her famous lip kits was about how it would make your lips look bigger, just like Kylie's, that all you needed for the plump lip look was a Kylie Jenner lip kit. Only that wasn't true at all, even for Kylie. Her famous pout was achieved not just through makeup, but also plastic surgery. Many said this marketing was creating unrealistic expectations and was contributing leading to body image issues among younger fans. Now Kylie is more open about the procedures she received. Kylie Jenner admitted in an interview that she uses her housekeeper as an arm model for her makeup swatches. While being interviewed by Fast Money, Kylie dropped this interesting confession. She revealed that the reason why she picked her housekeeper to show off the highlighter swatches was because she has the best arms for swatches and she's so nice and just sits there and has her arm ready and lets me do my thing. So it seems like her housekeeper enjoys being there, which thank goodness. Still, people found the entire thing a little odd and were quick to criticize the situation, especially how Kylie spoke of her housekeeper. Many said that the way Kylie was speaking about her housekeeper was akin to how one might speak of a pet, and were also pointing out that this wasn't a housekeeper's job and that they hoped Jenner at least compensated her for the modeling. Though Jenner being able to do this does indicate a good relationship, so surely her housekeeper must be fine with it. It's been happening for years, but in 2024 it was revealed again that one of Kylie's brands stole designs from a smaller business. In the post, Kylie's makeup brand had stolen photo shoot ideas from a makeup artist on Instagram, but this time it's all about Kylie's clothing line, Kai. Australian brand Johansson is known for a specific silhouette. It looks classic and it has like twisted sleeves usually, and they've actually dressed Kylie Jenner before. The owner of Johansson was surprised when Kai's new collection dropped because it looked incredibly similar to many of the company's designs. Jessica Johansson took to TikTok to express her frustration and show comparisons of the two brands side by side. From what I saw, they are almost identical. Pair that with the fact that Kylie knows the brand and has worn the clothes, it's not looking good. This isn't the first time Kai has been accused of stealing designs. Before this, in 2023, designer Betsy Johnson accused the brand of the same thing. This is not the Betsy Johnson, the American designer, this is someone else. She was a model and is from Grimsby. Johnson at this point had recently announced a line called Products and was met with praise. It featured lots of leather and made a point to look luxurious. Kylie's brand released a line that had striking similar design ideas. Turns out Johnson had sent some emails to Kylie's product team months before the drops. In an Instagram story, Johnson wrote, "We emailed Kylie and her team Products Ltd, concept and language and a line sheet 6 months ago. Interesting concept, Kylie. Interesting. Thanks for the cosign." A line sheet is a tool used to showcase clothing and the info about selling it wholesale, so it probably would have had a lot of the product's designs on it. Not a good look. The summer of 2020 was the backdrop for the shocking accusation that Kendall and Kylie didn't pay their workers. Claims were made against the sisters' shared brand, Kendall and Kylie, that they weren't compensating workers in Bangladesh for their work. The alleged reason why was the COVID-19 pandemic. An article from Remake was published in June of 2020, and it was the first to bring this claim to light. Here's the thing, were Kendall and Kylie directly responsible for paying the workers? Technically no. Everything went through the company they were working with, Global Brands Group. So the claim was actually against them. The claim was that they refused to pay its garment suppliers for orders produced in February and March following a drop in sales caused by the coronavirus pandemic. The sisters did address the claims publicly in a statement on Instagram, writing, "We would like to address the unfortunate and incorrect rumor that Global Brands Group owns the Kendall and Kylie brand and that we have neglected to pay factory workers in Bangladesh as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is untrue. The Kendall and Kylie brand is owned by 3072541 Canada Inc., not GBG. The brand has worked with CAA GBG in the past in a sales and business development capacity only, but we do not currently have any relationship at all with GBG." So though they had been affiliated in the past, it was not the case anymore, and it was an unfortunate accident that the sisters were brought into the conversation. Kylie Jenner made history and truly became King Kylie when she was crowned Forbes' youngest self-made billionaire ever at age 21. It came out towards the end of 2020 that allegedly false tax returns had been used to prove Kylie's billionaire status. So she wasn't actually a billionaire, still very, very, very rich, just not a billionaire. She was close to almost there. Her updated net worth at the time when Forbes revoked the title was just under $900 million. A report was published in the magazine after they had realized that they had been lied to. The report accused Kylie's mom, Kris Jenner, of being a key player in the falsehood. In the report, Forbes said, "Kylie's business is significantly smaller and less profitable than the family has spent years leading the cosmetics industry and media outlets, including Forbes, to believe." The magazine did go on to clarify some things, saying, "While we can't prove that those documents were fake, though it's likely, it's clear that Kylie's camp has been lying." Today, Kylie Jenner's net worth is estimated to be about $700 million. The only member of the family with a billion net worth right now is Kim Kardashian with a net worth of around $1.7 billion. Mark Wahlberg is is making headlines for David Beckham's lawsuit against him, but that is just one more controversy on a long list that often gets overlooked. His first noted transgression happened almost 4 decades ago in 1986. Wahlberg and his friend group at the time had a civil rights injunction issued for them because they were throwing things and yelling racially insensitive words. Then 2 years after that, he proved he could be worse, acting in an aggressive manner towards 2 Vietnamese men. He was sentenced to 2 years for that one, served 45 days. 1992 was the incident with his neighbor. Then there was the pay scandal from 2018 when he worked on All the Money in the World. He got $1.5 million for the reshoots. Michelle Williams got $1,000. He did donate his portion after the backlash, which that was good. Still, his track record is an interesting one, and these are just the things we know about. Wahlberg has said, though, that he has spent the better part of his life trying to make up for his past wrongs. Most of Hollywood seems to want us to believe that paparazzi are out, just roaming like vultures, just waiting to snap the perfect photo, and that's not always true. Sometimes paparazzi might spontaneously be at a location if it's a known celebrity hub, or a hotel before a premiere, or a popular celebrity's house, or even a star-studded town like LA. But those random shots of people leaving the grocery store in the middle of nowhere, or some random coffee shop, those might not be as authentic as we are made to believe. Turns out paparazzi are sometimes called to a location, whether that's just to get some pictures of new talent out there, or to help set up a PR stunt. A paparazzi that regularly works with the Kardashians shared that Kim Kardashian sometimes texts him her location, even flying her favorite paparazzi around the world with her to get those perfect, glamorous, candid shots. Sure, some pictures of celebrities are definitely the real caught-off-guard thing, but definitely not all of them. Rebecca Ferguson may have let us know about a particularly nasty encounter with a castmate, but she is keeping their name out of the headlines, for now at least. Ferguson is in the film Dune 2, which just had its press tour. It was during an interview with Josh Smith on the tour that Ferguson revealed the shocking info that she was once screamed at on set by a co-star. The case was taken up by internet sleuths in no time, theories all over social media about who it could have been. Ferguson has chosen to keep that part to herself. She has since expressed that she shared the story mainly because it was a turning point in her perception of herself and her career, and wanted to share the story because it fit the question Smith had asked her. Still, people are angry about the way she was treated and what was said to her. The unnamed co-star allegedly yelled, "You call yourself an actor? This is what I have to work with? What is this?" Ferguson shared that though it did hurt in the moment, it was the first time she stood up for herself on a set, telling the person to get off her set and F off, and that she never wants to see them again. Since we don't know who she is talking about, we don't know if she never saw them again, but hopefully not. For the longest time, Britney Spears was hiding some pretty dark secrets, but not because she wanted to. During the pandemic, people began noticing something was up with Spears, and soon people started to piece together the restrictive nature of her conservatorship. The news of how her father basically, allegedly controlled every aspect of the singer's life rocked the internet and led to a large social media outcry to free Britney. The star allegedly had little control over her finances, family life, and just her life in general. Her book, The Woman in Me, dropped in 2023 and revealed more interesting stories and secrets about the singer's life. One particular story about how she got pregnant took the internet by storm. While Britney and Justin Timberlake were dating, she got pregnant with his baby, but felt she couldn't keep the child even though she really wanted to. Justin Timberlake just didn't feel ready to be a father, so Britney felt forced to end the pregnancy. In her book she wrote, "If it had been left up to me alone, I never would have done it, and to this day, it's one of the most agonizing things I have ever experienced in my life." The book highlighted that being the most popular person in the world is not everything it's cracked up to be, and Britney's story showcased just how controlled Hollywood stars might be. Madonna is a bit of a wild child now and no stranger to controversy, but she hasn't always had the easiest time. She's got a pretty rough history with ex-husband Sean Penn. Penn was accused of acting rudely towards the Material Girl singer during their marriage. The breaking point in the marriage happened when Penn allegedly tied Madonna to a chair and left. She sat for 9 hours. She did escape and managed to get to a police station to file a complaint. Penn was charged, but Madonna ended up pulling the complaints and instead filed for divorce, leaving the marriage with "May God bless and keep him, but far, far from me." Sean Penn's career may have suffered briefly, but he's still very active in Hollywood and has been in multiple big films over the years since the 1988 incident. Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis tried to keep this secret as hidden as possible, much to the disappointment of their fans and the the internet in general. Kutcher and Kunis starred on That 70s Show alongside Danny Masterson. Masterson was found guilty of acting inappropriately towards 2 women and will spend 30 years behind bars for his behavior. Great news to the average person. It was great news that he was even going to trial. It seems the news wasn't so awesome to Kutcher and Kunis, as the pair penned letters to the judge handling Masterson's case asking for leniency. The internet did not appreciate their efforts and was quick to put the actors in their place, so much so that they posted an apology video to Instagram. Alfred Hitchcock's legacy has shielded some of his more deranged actions from the public's consciousness in the decades since he has passed. Many hear the name and recall amazing films expertly put together, but the expert has truly insane ways of achieving what we get to see on the screen. It might surprise you, or not surprise you at all, to learn that the methods of creating his horror movie The Birds were just as horrific as the movie. Lead actress of the film, Tippi Hedren, shares a particularly harrowing story in her 2016 memoir Tippi. She writes about the day they were going to film the famous scene where her character is attacked by birds in the bedroom. Tippi shares that she was told the birds in the scene were going to be robotic. However, on the day of the shoot, she found out from the assistant director that the mechanical birds weren't working, so they had no choice but to use live birds. No choice? Really? Okay. This led to a brutal experience for the actress. 5 days of filming the scene where live birds were thrown at her. Tippi describes the ordeal as brutal and ugly and relentless, but it was going to get worse. On the final day, Hitchcock decided to tie the birds to her while she was laying on the floor, and once action was called, the birds started to peck. It wasn't until one nearly got her eye that she stopped it all and was doing so bad she had to go on a doctor's mandated week of rest. Judy Garland is forever immortalized as the cheerful, sweet Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, but the Ruby Red legacy is hiding a lot more heartache than anyone could have guessed. She didn't have an amazing relationship with her mother, and her schedule while working for MGM was always packed. Days started early and sometimes ended in the early morning of the next day. This led to Garland needing some outside assistance to keep on her feet, the kind of thing that would plague her for the rest of her life. The set of The Wizard of Oz looked magical, but it was no place for a girl. She was placed on a strict diet so she could look as small as possible, so she would appear as young as possible. She endured poor treatment from studio execs and other actors throughout her career before passing away in 1969. Another example of a young star that was kept under close watch is Jennette McCurdy. She is also another example of a celeb who used a book to discuss her complicated feelings surrounding growing up famous. McCurdy's book, I'm Glad My Mom Died, does contain plenty of stories about her mom's treatment of her, which we will get to, but it also contained insider info on the experience of child stars. McCurdy writing that she felt her whole childhood and adolescence was very exploited. She shared that even years later, after being kind of out of the spotlight, she still feels the effects. She writes, "It still gives my nervous system a reaction to say it. There were cases where people had the best intentions and maybe didn't know what they were doing, and also cases where they knew exactly what they were doing. Most people hope that if a child is going to be entering the workforce of Hollywood so young, they would have a good parent at their side. Unfortunately, Jennette's book highlights that this isn't always the case. She shares stories of times she wished her mom had stepped up more, like when she had felt pressured into doing a bikini photo shoot when she wasn't yet 18. McCurdy continues to share situations that young stars might be put in by adults, including one in which McCurdy was offered an adult drink by someone she referred to as the creator. Jennette shared that whenever she would bring up how she felt uncomfortable with something, she would receive the comment, "Everyone wants what you have." The way young stars are treated in Hollywood is a profoundly uncomfortable topic, one that was just touched on in the landmark Quiet on Set documentary about Nickelodeon. One of the major stories that was told was that of Drake Bell. Without going into too many details, Bell was one of the biggest young actors Nickelodeon had. He was in a few different shows, mainly Drake and Josh, but would do guest appearances on other shows. He was a big deal. He was known for his outgoing, bright personality. So it came as a big shock to the world to hear about everything he was dealing with behind closed doors in the documentary. A dialect coach that worked with Nickelodeon had been acting inappropriately towards the young actor for an extended period of time. The coach did go to court, but in the opinion of many, did not get an adequate punishment for his behavior. Bell had kept the secret to himself for many years, but has now felt okay enough to share his experience. Machine Kelly just recently shared through a tweet that he had been banned from Coachella since 2012. That's over a decade of not being allowed to attend the popular music festival. What could he have possibly done to warrant such a ban? He actually doesn't know. Even back in 2012, he expressed his frustration towards the festival, tweeting, "Coachella is a huge joke, it's corporate AF, and they only accept the accepted, but fake like they don't. Sad that music is so trendy now." So it looks like MGK's wild demeanor was too much for the festival at the time. Coachella may have also been worried about people's safety at the event. MGK is known for riling up his fanbase and generally causing chaos. The incident that could have triggered this decade-long ban may have been a 2011 mall flash mob. In 2011, MGK's Twitter following was around 70,000 people, and he tweeted out to all of them where he would be the next day. He tweeted, "I'm thinking about doing a flash mob at a mall or something tomorrow, LOL Cleveland, should we do one while I'm home?" Following that up with the specific time and the location. Sure enough, hundreds of fans flooded the mall to rage hard with the performer. While it sounds fun, it was also an incredibly dangerous situation. MGK, as part of his plan, encouraged fans to run towards the food court table he would be at once they were there. There were more people there than the mall was able to handle, and imagine a large crowd running at such a small location at once. It was a pretty dangerous situation. MGK was arrested at this event and put in a holding cell. While we have no idea if this was the exact event that caused the ban, it's the most plausible answer. Coachella is known for large crowds of people who might not always be in a conscious state of mind. Having a performer that might call for people to start running to the stage or just generally causing chaos might have caused potential safety risks the festival just wasn't willing to take. MGK was excited to finally be allowed to attend this year. However, as fate would have it, he had to miss again for his daughter's sports tournament. Family comes first, and hey, what's one more year? Travis Scott is actually another example of a performer causing crowd chaos and then getting banned from the music festival. After the Astroworld tragedy of 2021, Travis Scott was removed from the Coachella lineup. The Astroworld tragedy was a crowd crush situation, and while Scott did not have a direct connection to causing the tragedy, of course, he did continue to encourage the crowd to party even after an ambulance went through the crowd. This was enough for Coachella to remove him from their 2022 lineup. If all this wasn't bad enough, people generally consider Travis Scott's apology video about Astroworld to be embarrassing. Many slam the performer for not appearing sincere enough. What is very kind of Scott is that he did offer to pay the funeral costs for the families affected by the tragedy, though many did turn the offer down. Tommy Lee's ban, is it epic or embarrassing? Let me know what you think after listening. Tommy Lee, drummer for Motley Crue and former husband of Pamela Anderson, he was banned from Coachella from pretty much 2011 onward. The reason? Arriving to the music festival in a helicopter, something that is apparently very much not allowed. He touched down alongside Canadian DJ and producer Deadmau5, spelled Dead MAU5. That means both of these guys are banned from Coachella for the foreseeable future, at least as performers. The helicopter isn't even the full story for these two. Apparently, in addition to the helicopter, there was a minivan on the scene that burst into flames, and also knives from somewhere. Just a lot of dangerous things rolled up into one chaotic scene. This was all revealed in a video posted to Mouse's YouTube in a series where he takes famous friends for coffee and they talk about their lives and share fun stories. About the Coachella ban, Lee and Mouse also joked that maybe the person that got them banned or had a hand in making it happen was a Coachella promoter, and that the promoter hated them after it and maybe even before it. Towards the end of the pair discussing this topic, it was declared that Motley Crue would never play Coachella. Here's the thing, Australian singer Conrad Swell was banned from Coachella, and he doesn't know exactly why it happened. What makes the situation embarrassing is he got banned pretty much right after meeting his celebrity crush, like right after. In 2016, Swell was at Coachella not as a performer but just there for the vibe, to enjoy some good music. While he was there, he spotted his celebrity crush from when he was a teenager. Mishka Barton, known for her role as Marissa Cooper on The OC. Swell had actually written a song for Barton when he was younger, featuring lyrics like, "I wanna hold your hand because I'm your biggest fan." Barton did end up hearing the song a little while later and thought it was cute, but back to Coachella. Swell, while in a radio interview, showed the picture he took with Barton in 2016 to the hosts of the interview before saying, "That was when I got banned from Coachella for the first time ever." It suggested that he was removed from the event that year shortly after the photo was taken. The radio host was quick to press for details, but all Conrad Swell would give is, "That's a different story." Can't imagine meeting your celebrity crush and then immediately getting removed from the premises. I don't know, that's embarrassing to me. Swell wasn't gone for long though. His ban seemed to only be for a couple years. He returned to play the festival in 2018 as part of the set for Kygo, a Norwegian DJ. In 2018, Marilyn Manson confirmed using a tweet that he had previously been banned from the popular music festival. Manson tweeted, "I never thought I would play at a festival I was banned from, but I was invited to join the stage with X Japan. You don't want to miss this one." It hasn't been released what the exact reason for the ban was, but Manson as a person is incredibly controversial, having said racially inappropriate things, acting in an inappropriate manner towards those that he works with and works for him, and his ties to satanic practices. The festival might not have banned him for one specific story, but banned him overall as a precaution. Kate Bush might not have been placed on an official ban list, but the festival had allegedly said she would be too weird to play the festival, and that is almost the same as permanently banning her. These comments were said back in 2017, so it's unclear if the attitude has shifted after Stranger Things brought Kate Bush's music to a younger generation and repopularized the singer. Still, even before Running Up That Hill became 2022's Song of the Summer, Kate Bush was a music icon and a stellar performer. The comment in question, "No one is going to understand it." It's definitely an interesting take when referring to a widely loved performer. Not sure that would matter much. Shortly after the Coachella owner's comments reached the headlines, Bush weighed in and actually agreed with him. Music sets for Coachella are usually pretty scaled back performances, and Bush is known for going all out, so it just wouldn't have worked. Popular American band 21 Pilots have banned themselves from Coachella. The band spoke out about their apparently serious dislike for the popular music festival at another one, the Firefly Music Festival. They actually didn't even just speak about it, they made a full-on video. Before the 21 Pilots set even started at the festival in 2017, they played a video on screen featuring a giant monster attacking Coachella and knocking around a Coachella sign. If that wasn't clear enough for you though, lead singer Tyler Joseph does a whole speech clarifying that it's not that they don't like Coachella, it's just that they can't stand it. They prefer the Firefly Festival where they were performing, if you were wondering. This very public rant is probably the reason why 21 Pilots and Coachella won't mix. The festival probably never will ask now, and even if they did, the band would never say yes. Alex Turner, lead singer for the Arctic Monkeys, and Miles Kane, solo artist and part of the Last Shadow Puppets, shared the stage and a kiss at Coachella 2016, something the festival was not too fond of, it seems. Apparently, while the kiss happened, the camera was quick to pan away, something that doesn't usually happen with a kiss between a heterosexual couple. Take Madonna and Drake from 2015 for example. This is less embarrassing for Alex and Miles and more embarrassing on the festival's part. A clip from the performance went viral on TikTok last year, garnering thousands of comments. Some social media users pointed out some reasons for the lack of camera coverage. One claimed that it might have something to do with one of Coachella's owners donating to anti-LGBTQ+ legislation, another pointing out the same treatment is given to other LGBTQ+ bands like Boy Genius. Though it's not been confirmed if the pair were actually banned or just stayed away by their own decision, it's a suspicious situation. Sly Stone's embarrassing set from 2010 has gone down in Coachella history. Even before he set foot on the stage, it was a mess. Stone was apparently supposed to start his performance at 7 p.m. but then wasn't ready maybe? There were even rumors that he wasn't there. The act that was supposed to go on after him ended up going before, and it was announced that Stone wouldn't go on until 10:45 p.m. Sounds like he was also late for that one, and even when he finally got there at around 11 and started his performance, it wasn't amazing. One person who attended later wrote on their blog that the performance was sad. According to attendees, Stone was not acting the way he normally did. He was stopping songs in the middle and going on lots of rants, famously ranting about his manager, Jerry Goldstein, later being sued for the rant that he made. Jerry claimed that Sly implied that he was a thief. In one of his many speeches, he did outright say that, so it's a fair. The LA Weekly also reported on the show, writing, "Sly would sing a few bars of the classics, but he'd soon stop and start asking what time it was and how long he had to stay on stage to get paid." He also shared with the audience some of his current legal troubles at length and berated his band. Overall, it doesn't sound fun for anyone involved, and it's unlikely Sly will ever be a major performer at Coachella ever again.
In the wake of Pitch Perfect 2's groundbreaking release weekend, Rebel Wilson was caught in one of these very old-fashioned age scandals. According to one of Wilson's high school classmates, speaking anonymously to an Australian tabloid, Wilson had been lying about her age, her name, her upbringing, and her family's class. Those claims were amplified across the Australian and international press and social media, which began a tirade to know the real Rebel Wilson. On May 18, 2015, Wilson addressed the rumors via Twitter, joking, "Oh my god, I'm actually an 100-year-old mermaid, formerly known as CC Chalice. Thanks, shady Australian press, for your tall poppy syndrome." In the aftermath, investigations into business and voting records did show that Wilson's legal name is actually Melanie Elizabeth Bounds. She's not 29 as previously claimed on her IMDb page, but actually 35, born March 2nd of 1980. Rebel's fans maintained her lives weren't actually that abnormal or horrendous, with one Reddit user even pointing out that being 30 and Pitch Perfect isn't that strange, seeing as, quote, Anna Camp, Esther Dean, Adam Devine, etc. aren't that far behind her and were also playing college students as well. Ironically, Ben Platt was the only cast member who was 18 playing a 19-year-old. While some celebs are outed by former classmates, some like Constance Wu are outed by, well, their fans just not believing what they say about their age. Because when Fresh Off the Boat first came out and it gave Wu her big break, she pretended to be in her early 20s and even did interviews all like, "LOL, I'm playing a mom of teens and yet I'm so young," but her own beloved fans didn't buy it, especially upon the release of the movie Hustlers. It sparked rumors and theories online that she was faking her age. In February 2015 interview with Glamour, trying to prompt an age answer from the actress, Wu was asked about what her on-screen husband, Randall Park, who was 40, was like compared to her alleged 26. Constant Wu's response was to brazenly joke that he was immature while she was mature, and it made them feel like they were the same age. When the interviewer pressed further, suggesting Constance wasn't actually old enough to have birthed her on-screen kids, the actress countered that biologically she was. In an interview the following year, 2016, Vulture set things right. In it, Wu is asked whether she's actually 26 like she had been claiming, or as the media had been reporting, was she 34. Wu claimed she was 34 and explained not correcting anyone previously by saying, "I think originally on Wikipedia it listed my age incorrectly. There's a lot of ageism in the industry, so when people would talk about it, I just wouldn't correct them." While these two leading ladies lie downwards, some lie upwards about their age, like a young Lawrence Fishburne. He is the OG of lying about your age to nab a role actor. Lawrence was only 14 when he cold-faced lied to Francis Ford Coppola himself about being 16 to play the 17-year-old character Tyrone Clean Miller in the legendary 1976 film Apocalypse Now. Fishburne explained in 2013 interview he was not fooling producer Fred Roos, though who he says knew him from a different project he had done when he was younger. So needless to say, the casting team wasn't entirely sure if he looked as old as he claimed to be, so they needed an extra set of eyes. To quote Fishburne, "A young woman who was working in the offices, a secretary, got up and walked through the room," he said. And as she was walking, Francis finally spoke up, and he just looked at her and said, "Excuse me, you think this kid could be 18? And whoever this woman was, she turned around, looked at me and went, yeah." With the validation of an unaffiliated third party, Fishburne got the part, and although he was 14 when shooting began, he was 18 years old by the time the movie was released in theaters. However, his true age of 14 was actually confirmed to the entirety of cast during the filming of a specific scene where he had to talk about his love of Playboy magazines, and he fumbled through it. Caught aging himself down as the man who'd normally never fumble, that's Eminem. And there's quite a few age slip-ups from this rapper. Once on Howard Stern's radio show in 1999, Eminem claimed to be 24. However, he was actually 27. On some tracks from TES and MMLP, he says his age, but it's always 2 years less than what it actually is. That, and in TES, a Square One Stance lyric dropped is, "I'm 28, they gonna take you for they take me." Also, there's a video of Eminem celebrating his birthday on stage in 2002, and it says, "Happy 26th birthday." So a lot of confusion. But why did Eminem lie? Same reason as many celebrities, it's competition. There were a lot of young men in hip-hop when Eminem was pushing himself out there, and the internet was just getting big, so it's not like anyone was gonna fact check him, at least for not a long time. So Eminem often subtracted 2 to 4 years from his stage age, which he later admitted in an interview after it was found out because his mother released his birth certificate as part of that period of time where she was harassing him like crazy. So Jerry Halliwell lied due to competitive reasons as well, as she was part of the girl group the Spice Girls during an era of utter girl group competition. Jerry was known as Ginger Spice and told the press she was 21 to match herself up with the ages of her bandmates and not throw off the public perception of, women being perceived as old in the industry earlier than anyone else. However, it was her own homegirl who did her in. A fellow band member, Victoria, aka Posh Spice, let slip an interview. Halliwell is older than 21, but never specified how much older, which sent the internet into a frenzy of speculation, and gossip. Add fuel to the fire, Melanie Brown has also claimed since Hallowell has lied about her age for decades and said no one knows how old she is. She even revealed her friend always kept her passport close to her chest when they were on tour as the Spice Girls. Scary Spice admitted she doesn't believe Ginger Spice was born in 1972, despite even celebrating her 50th birthday with her celebrity friend. Speaking of pop queens lying about their age, one for my Irish viewers, Nadine Cole. So, the Girls Aloud band member was on a show called Pop Stars, where she lied about her age in order to compete in the talent show. In a hilarious clip, it was revealed that Nadine had been lying about her age and was just 16, which is 2 years younger than the minimum age requirement of 18 for that Irish show. So the clip shows her panicking on camera when confronted about her age. She starts digging through her purse for a birth certificate or a passport she knows she won't find. She starts awkwardly calling her mom, asking where her passport is. It's a bit of social media history in Ireland apparently, and highly memed and referenced there as well. Nadine Cole was disqualified from the competition and sent back home to Derry, but Lewis Walsh later encouraged her to enter the UK version of the show, Pop Stars The Rivals, the following year, and she actually has since had a career. Nicola Colin actually accredited the iconic clip to how she learned how to do her Derry girl's accent while in an interview with Graham Norton. To quote Sandra Bullock, "After a while, you have no idea how old you are because you've lied so many times." She said that back in an interview with Detour in 1993, but before that interview and after, the actress has lied about her age almost endlessly. Old or younger really doesn't matter to Sandy, who uses lying about her age and keeping its true number a secret as a tactic to land roles that she feels she truly desires. So Bullock confessed in 1992 that she lied about her age to get cast in The Love Potion No. 9. The part of the biologist Diane Farrow called for a 29-year-old actress, but she was actually younger at the time. The multi-award winning actor was told by Barbara Walters that it would be wise to tell a white lie, so she convinced everyone she was 29 to get the role. Laverne Cox opened up about her struggle with aging in a similar fashion. The actress has formally claimed to be born in 1982, when it was actually 1972. Now reminder, Laverne did start off in the drag world, where it's actually really normal for performers to shave off like 10 years or more, but she carried on lying about her age after having a man break up with her when she was 28 for being too old. Worried about castability and desirability, Laverne lied about her age as she made her big break in Orange is the New Black, a show that would accidentally help reveal her true age. See, Laverne's twin brother plays her character pre-gender transition in the show, and when fans went to Google if that fact was true, yo, that's so cool, they find his IMDb, which has his real age listed. And seeing as Laverne and her brother are fraternal twins, the fact that her age was listed 10 years after his on IMDb didn't make much sense. So then on the Ellen show, she's called out and she says, IMDb found out my real age, so it started appearing places, and it was freaking me out. I was having such anxiety, so I started talking to my therapist about it. I started unpacking all the stories I had about being older, and the stories were all like I wasn't hireable, I wasn't dateable, I wasn't effable, and then I just worked through all that. On a somewhat funnier note, Chris Brown's age was revealed when he was trying to win love from the astrology girlies, so he posted his full astro circle chart to his Instagram story. Brown, however, is only smart enough to remove his birth date from his birth chart, meaning one eagle-eye Instagram user who studied astrology called him out in the comments, writing, if this chart is true, hey Chris Brown, you're 4 years older than what you actually claim. Turns out his Saturn was in the late degree of Scorpio, and his Pluto was in an early degree of Scorpion. Add that together and his stars were in Liar Liar Pants on Fire. So Chris Brown's birthday was revealed to be May 1985, not 89, and as a result he blocked the first astrologer to call him out in the comments and then deleted all of his star charts and refuses to address this. Mariah Carey, for her part, told Complex in 2016 she just doesn't even believe in having a birthday. Mariah Carey's true birth year has long been debated in the press and social media, with evidence supporting both 1969 and 1970 as the correct answer. With that little difference, it really doesn't matter, and it seems Mariah shares my opinion, as she herself is quoted to have said she really just wants to remain eternally oblivious to age. To quote her, I was just dropped here. It was a fairyland experience, she said in 2016. 3 years later, the singer maintained that she doesn't believe in aging, saying to an interview, I don't get this 10-year challenge. Time is not something I acknowledge. She also captioned 2 similar photos of herself in January 2019 after a social media transformation went viral, picture taken at some point prior to today.
Stacey Dash is a face you might recognize from the hit film Clueless. clueless, she managed to make her career crash and burn in a fashion that is almost impressive. Dash starred as the sassy, fashionable best friend to Cher in the 1995 film and was well loved by fans of the film. She did a great performance. That is her most notable role, but she had many other film and TV credits around this time. Some highlights from the fall of Stacey Dash include her saying that Black History Month shouldn't be a thing and that transgender people should go to the washroom in bushes in 2016, referring to other actors inappropriately when they try and speak up against racial injustices. That just happens randomly. She also claimed feminism is ruining men. She kind of blacklisted herself with every action she has committed in recent years. Though she has apologized for things she has said and done in the past, she is still not getting much work in Hollywood. Rebecca Ferguson has just given a killer performance in the second Dune film, and while on the press tour, she might have also killed another actor's career if she had revealed their name. Rebecca Ferguson is one of the internet's favorite actresses right now for good reasons. She seems very grounded, smart, sweet, and just is a really good actress. So when she dropped in a recent interview that she had once been screamed at on set by an unnamed former co-star, people were quick to start combing through her films in search of the culprit. People were taking this very seriously, as Rebecca also said the encounter made her cry. The leading theory is that it was Hugh Grant that had screamed at her. People would back this theory up online with past stories from his co-stars and people who worked on set with him about how he was rude and difficult. That actually caused him to not get fully blacklisted when he was younger, but it did make him lose out on a couple roles. He did claim that the movie Did You Hear About the Morgans caused opportunities to dry up for him, claiming that Hollywood gave me up because I made such a massive turkey with that film with Sarah Jessica Parker. Whether I wanted to or not after that, the days of being a very well-paid leading man were suddenly gone overnight. It's unclear if he was the one who yelled at Ferguson, but he did for sure yell at a woman while working on the set of the movie Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Star of the 1930s, Mae West was an absolute bombshell of the era. She was known for her suggestive performances and outfits and overall bold depictions of being a woman and the female body. She was blacklisted by a pretty unexpected co-star, the Production Code Administration, or PCA. The PCA was created to censor media to uphold strict moral guidelines. It was the 30s after all. It was used to adjust American media, and that is where Mae West operated, due to her performances always having a hint of something they shouldn't. According to the PCA, many of them were censored. She was censored so many times that it was easier for a studio to just not hire the star in the first place. She was actually temporarily banned from the screen at one point. She did find a few roles through the 1940s, but from 1943 to 1960, there was little work for her on screen. It was the 1960s and 70s that took her off that blacklist again, and she made a few more films before passing in 1980. Thora Birch made a name for herself in the 1993 film Hocus Pocus as young Danny Dennison. She then began starring in various TV shows and movies and even on Broadway, but it was a 2010 Broadway contract that would cause her to lose everything. While working on the 2010 off-Broadway revival of Dracula, Birch's father allegedly threatened a castmate with physical harm, and it resulted in her being fired and not rehired for a while. The actor that was threatened remains unnamed to this day, but allegedly was involved in a scene with Birch in which he was directed to rub her back. According to Birch's father, Birch was uncomfortable with this, and the threat was meant to convey that. The director did not agree with the father's behavior, and Birch was of course fired. This isn't the only reason why Birch rarely worked though. According to the American Beauty star, she spent some time in her youth upset and upsetting others intentionally. Vanessa Marquez was known for various film credits, but most of her fame came from the TV show ER, in which Marquez starred alongside George Clooney. Marquez would actually go on to accuse Clooney of having a hand in blacklisting Vanessa from ER and Hollywood in general. Vanessa was in the TV show for 3 seasons before being let go and written off. It was unclear why, but Vanessa soon shared that George Clooney and other actors on the show had acted inappropriately towards her on the TV show set. Not saying that Clooney was the one doing it, she just named him and said that she experienced bad behavior every day while working on the show. Vanessa says she complained to someone about the on-set inappropriate actions and claims that that was the reason why she was taken off the show. So she said she was fired for complaining. George Clooney has directly acknowledged the accusations. In 2017, he said he had nothing to do with Vanessa being blacklisted and that he actually didn't even realize she was. Linda Fiorentino was at the beginning of her Hollywood journey and things looked promising. She had a considerable amount of credits in the 90s and early 2000s, including a role in the Men in Black movies. But now she has seemed to disappear and be considered a former actress. The reason for this sudden change might have had something to do with Dogma star Kevin Smith, who also wrote and directed that film. Smith went on record and destroyed Linda's reputation. She had been labeled difficult to work with, among other things. Nowadays, many people actually disagree with these claims, claims and consider her to have been very hardworking and talented. At the time though, she just didn't have enough star power to come back from the claims set against her. Charlie Sheen was once on top of the world, even reported to have been paid just under $2 million per episode while starring in the show 2.5 Men, but he soon was blacklisted and pushed out of Hollywood, partly because of his own actions, but also former co-star and ex-wife Denise Richards accused Sheen of bad behavior, and that only added more reason to keep the man out of the game. In the year 2000, Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen met on the set of Good Advice and then began a serious relationship the next year after Richards guest starred on Spin City. The pair would end up getting married and having 2 kids, but a few years later, in early 2006, Richards ended up filing for divorce, and a few months after that, taking out a restraining order against her former husband. The order required Sheen to stay 300 yards away from Richards, and he could only see their children if he was supervised. The reason Richards felt she needed the order was because she claimed that Sheen had spoken violently towards her and was rough with her physically. Sheen would later go on to be accused of similar things by other women he went on to date and marry. The actor did other things all by himself though that ended up getting him blacklisted. He used substances that are not legal and would behave poorly on sets and more. The actor had said in 2018 that he is trying to turn things around. Kevin Spacey is mainly known for his starring role on the TV show House of Cards, but like a real House of Cards, once the public caught wind of past actions, everything came crashing down. 2017 was the year of Spacey's fall from grace. Anthony Rapp, who you might recognize from the movie Rent or the TV series Star Trek Discovery, accused Spacey of acting inappropriately towards him when he was underage. The incident would have happened a few decades before 2017. Spacey was of course fired from the show House of Cards very soon after the news was released, and the show continued on for one more season without him. Rapp was not the only actor that accused Spacey of the inappropriate behavior. Soon more actors were coming forward with stories, and Spacey went to court. He was ultimately found not guilty, but the damage to his career had already been done, and the actor was blacklisted. Sandra Locke was a big star in the late 60s, early 70s, and just didn't act, but also directed too. She starred in films alongside Clint Eastwood, and the pair really hit it off, dating for quite a while. They were the it couple, starring in films like The Outlaw Josie Wales and Every Which Way But Loose. Unfortunately, the pair eventually broke up, and it was disastrous for Locke's career. They broke up in 1989, but it kind of dragged on for a few years. Eastwood had more overall star power and connections to major Hollywood elites than Locke did, or even if they were both connected to someone, it's assumed that the person would then take Eastwood's side instead of hers. Soon, Locke wasn't getting much work and was essentially blacklisted from Hollywood. While it has never been confirmed technically, many people, including Locke, believe that her blacklisting was because of Eastwood, that he used his power and connections to effectively end her career, because after the breakup, her working life went up in flames and his was completely fine. Isaiah Washington had all the potential to make it big. He was starring in a main role on an incredibly popular TV show, Dr. Preston Burke on Grey's Anatomy. He had a number of film credits under his belt before that and was just an all-around good guy, until he threw it all away. According to the book by Lynette Rice, How to Save a Life, The Inside Story of Grey's Anatomy, a fight between Washington and McDreamy, or Patrick Dempsey, broke out on set and caused the domino effect that led to Washington's firing and blacklisting from Hollywood. According to interviews in the book, one of the men was late to set one day, so the next day the other decided to get payback and be late instead. Tensions got high, and soon the two men were brawling in studio. Washington apparently pushed Dempsey up against a wall and began shouting in his face, and it wasn't until Washington brought the F word that is bad, that is used to describe gay people, that everything stopped. The word was used in context of another actor in the show who was known to be gay, so really bad. Washington ended up apologizing, but then used the word again at the Golden Globes, and like very publicly in an interview, and that was kind of the moment that cemented everything. He was gone. Other Grey's Anatomy actors condemned his behavior, and soon Washington wasn't seen much in popular media anymore.
Starting off, we have Daphne Joy. Now, after Diddy's place got raided, rapper 50 Cent, real name Curtis Jackson III, responded on Twitter saying, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." Now, while 50 Cent was not named in the lawsuit against Combs, a woman identified as Daphne Joy, who shares a child with 50 Cent, was named in the suit. In a statement posted on Instagram, Joy responded to 50 Cent saying, "Everything is a joke until our safety is compromised, which is happening right now." Now, Joy went on to accuse 50 Cent of physically mistreating her and said, "You have broken our hearts for the last and final time." Next up is Stevie J. In addition to Joy, another celebrity named in the suit, Stevie J, Stephen Aaron Jordan, also responded to 50 Cent on social media. Stevie J hit back at 50 Cent on Instagram and said, "Since it's entertainment, let me beat the out of you on TV or something." Now, it's alleged that the Grammy winner Stevie J, Diddy's longtime collaborator, recruited and participated in Combs' freak-offs in his amended complaint filed in the U.S. District Court in the Southern District of New York, though it does not name Stevie J as a defendant. Now, Diddy is accused of instructing Stevie J to teach him the type of sex workers to solicit and the way to solicit them. It's alleged that Stevie J sent threatening messages when the plaintiff, Rodney Jones, publicly asked Combs to pay him for his work on Combs' The Love album. The complaint also says that Combs used his connection to Stevie J, Rodney's idol, to pressure Rodney into being intimate. "I've never seen my man do anything foul like they talking about. I've never seen it. I've known him for 29 years, Stevie J told TMZ earlier this month. Moving on to Young Miami. Young Miami, a member of City Girls, is mentioned in Jones's amended complaint filed in the U.S. District Court of the Southern District of New York. Now, she is not a defendant, nor is she accused misconduct. She is listed as being a part of Combs' operation and accused of bringing Diddy illegal substances on a private jet. The complaint says she was retained on a monthly stipend as one of sex workers, and it also alleges that her cousin, named as Jane Doe 1, took advantage of Rodney. Now, since the raid, she has shared numerous posts on social media, but many of the posts are promoting a new song that she is releasing. Aaron Hall, an R&B singer who was part of the group Guy, was named as a defendant in a complaint filed against Diddy last November in the New York Supreme Court ahead of the expiration date for New York's Adult Survivors Act, which provide a one-year window in which people could bring cases of SA outside the typical statute of limitations. The plaintiff, who is named Lisa Gardner, accuses Combs and Aaron Hall of SAing her and her friend in Aaron's apartment after a music industry event by MCA Records in 1990. She says Combs coerced her into being intimate with him and that afterward, Aaron barged into the room, pinned her down, and forced her to be intimate with him too. The plaintiff also alleges that Combs found her at her home and choked her until she passed out, as he was worried his girlfriend would find out about the incident, the complaint says. Now let's talk about Cuba Gooding Jr. An amended complaint filed in March in the U.S. District Court of Southern District, New York by Rodney Jones lists Cuba Gooding Jr. as a defendant. Now, Rodney accuses Cuba of harassment and SA. Specifically, Rodney accuses Combs of grooming him to pass him off to Cuba. Now, the two were left alone in a makeshift studio on a yacht rented by Combs, according to the complaint. There, Gooding began inappropriately touching Rodney. Now, it's to be known that the actor previously pleaded guilty to a misdemeanor count of forcibly touching, so this incident being real isn't shocking. Now we have Lucian Grange. The CEO of Universal Music Group and father-in-law to Sophia Richie, Lucian Grange is also listed as a defendant in Rodney's amended complaint. He's accused of aiding and abetting Combs, specifically in racketeering and trafficking. Rodney says that as CEO, Lucian had a duty to ensure the financial support they provided to Sean Combs and Love Records was not being used for drugs, and laced alcohol. Now, attorneys for Grange have filed a motion to dismiss, in which they call the accusations offensively false. In a sworn statement to the court, Grange called the accusations completely untrue and absurd, and said he plans to pursue both plaintiffs and his counsel for having made such false accusations. Now, Grange also points to the fact that he is the CEO of a multinational public company, and that he's not involved in day-to-day operation of the company's thousands of agreements. Now, in a statement to Business Insider, Grange's attorney Donald S. Zarkin called the complaint offensively reckless. The plaintiff has now attempted to amend his claims against Sir Lucian, removing the original set of outrageous falsehoods related to Sir Lucian, replacing them with wholly contradictory new falsehoods that are equally absurd, he said. Not only will we demonstrate the offensive falsity of these claims, but we will seek recovery of every penny of cost and damage caused by their assertion. Moving on to Justin Dior Combs. Justin Dior Combs, Diddy's 30-year-old son, is a defendant in Rodney's amended complaint. In a wide-range list of allegations, Rodney accuses Justin Combs of soliciting truckers, as well as engaging in freak-offs. He also says the younger and older Combs were the only two people present in the room when G, a friend of his, was shot at a recording studio, implying that one of them shot G. Now, Justin Combs was at Diddy's Los Angeles home when it was raided by feds and was seen handcuffed on the lawn outside, though he was not arrested. Justin Combs' lawyer said that the complaint was utterly bonkers on his radio show Beyond the Legal Limit. It's clearly written in an effort to get as much publicity as possible, not only for the case, but for the lawyer whose name I don't even remember, literally some maniac, he said. Then there's Prince Harry. Now, Diddy is said to have drawn guests to his infamous parties through his VIP associations with celebrities such as famous athletes, political figures, artists, musicians, and international dignitaries like British royal Prince Harry, according to the legal notice. Now, there's no suggestion of any wrongdoing by the prince, and his name is only mentioned once in the documents as an example of a well-known celebrity associate of Combs. Now, both Harry and his brother Prince William were pictured with Combs and Kanye West in 2007 after the musicians performed in the Concert for Diana at Wembley Stadium. So, to reiterate, Harry has not been accused of anything. Next up are the anonymous celebrities. While there are anonymous or redacted celebrities named in the suit, it's not too difficult to figure out who they are. While Chris Brown isn't named specifically in court documents, he's referenced as one of two redacted figures, redacted R&B singer, who is specifically alleged to have been in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with girls. Now, another clue that points to it being Chris is the footnote at the bottom of the same page, which reads, a Grammy Award-winning R&B singer who had trouble with law enforcement after assaulting a Belgian billionaire. Then, like Chris, while Meek Mill wasn't named specifically in court documents, he's referenced as one of the two redacted rapper figures who was specifically and allegedly in Mr. Combs' Los Angeles home consorting with girls and fuckers. Now, another clue that points to it being Meek is in the footnote at the bottom of the same page, which reads, he is a Philadelphia rapper who dated Nicki Minaj. And lastly, we have Bishop T.D. Jakes. While the bishop was not alleged to have done anything illegal per court documents, he was named as one of the people Diddy allegedly intended to leverage a relationship with in order to soften the impact on his public image of Casey Venture's lawsuit. Now, Diddy and the bishop joined forces back in 2021 for an ongoing religious series entitled Kingdom Culture with T.D. Jakes. In 2022, the two were spotted together in photographs at Diddy's 53rd birthday party, which prompted an outcry and criticism on social media about the relationship between religious leaders and music figures. In late 2023, the bishop would come under fire again on social media after an unfounded report claimed that he was engaging in activity with men at Diddy's parties. Now, he addressed the Diddy rumors once in a December 2022 comment from his representatives, and again during a Christmas Eve sermon, during which he let folks know that they can log off the online broadcast of the service if they came to hear him address a lie.